Hey everybody, my name is Waylon, but I think you knew that already. I was asked by my good friend Sin to dub this video in English, so what you're going to hear aren't exactly my own words. They are, however, an English translation from a Russian YouTuber named TF2 His videos are incredibly well made, and while I'm not going to pretend that I understand Russian, the fact that I can usually follow along with what he's saying despite the language gap, thanks to great editing, should say enough. And to any of our Russian fans who haven't already subscribed to this guy, I hope you found a new favorite. The following is an English translation of his video, Character Story, Spy.
Just lay your weapons down and walk away.
TF2 Hunt. Try your luck on jackpot. Or join coin flips with the lowest commissions. Get a chance of winning free money daily by participating in our giveaways. TF2Hunt.com.
There is a general opinion that TF2 is dead and that the developers don't want to do anything with it anymore other than stuff it with sellable garbage. I partially agree with that, but TF2 will only be dead if the players decide that it's dead, if the players decide to quit, and if all the creators around it stop taking inspiration from it and making cool and interesting stuff. What's more interesting though is the characters themselves, and why everyone loves to play them. I had a question in my head for a long time. Why do many people love to play Spy? The initial answer was difficulty. The harder the class is to play, the more people would play it just to show off. But strangely enough, it's mostly young and inexperienced players that choose to play Spy. Others suppose that it's because of how extraordinary he is as a character. That might be the case, but only partially. Back when I first started playing TF2, there were no comics. Meet the Spy wasn't even out yet, but people had already gravitated more and more towards playing as him. There were many other speculations, like you can kill inexperienced players more easily as Spy, the imbalance, because, he's a one-hit kill class. But in my opinion, the actual correct answer is somewhere in between all of these speculations, which can all be summed up in one word: uniqueness. Spy was one of the first interesting ideas in TF2. It wasn't based on skills and shooting or moving, but rather skills in deceiving everybody. So let's go all the way back to the early 2000s and see how Spy was in Team Fortress Classic. Now Spy is what TF Classic considered to be a medium class. He had 90 health and 100 armor, and armor class is a whole other thing in and of itself in that game, so let's not get into it. He was armed with a knife, a tranquilizer gun, a double-barreled shotgun, and a nail gun. Yeah. A lot of you may ask, where's the watch? Where's the sapper? TFC Spy is considerably different than the TF2 Spy we all know and love. But if we dig this topic a little deeper, we will find more interesting details.
Did I throw a wrench into your plans?
First of all, just like in TF2, the main features of TFC Spy are disguising and backstabbing. But the time it took you to disguise was like ridiculously long, anywhere between 9 or 10 seconds. The building sapping was done by hand grenades that destroyed buildings, and importantly, spies stayed disguised after using them. That's one way to sap a building, just destroy it!
How would you like the Spy now?
There is one question, however. Where did the watch and the invisibility come from? In the very first version of the game, which is known as QTF, short for Quake Team Fortress, server settings allowed the Spy to become invisible instead of being able to disguise. However, the developers later decided to remove the invisibility function completely as there wasn't much need for it. Yeah, sure. Also, in TF2, spy checking can easily be done just by walking through the other player. You can't do that in Team Fortress Classic, so the only classes who could identify a spy were Pyros and Scouts, as they had the ability to undisguise him, not by killing him, but by just touching him. And he'd drop his disguise. Yeah, weird. What's really interesting to me is that the Spy used to have the ability to play dead. Yeah, though it did have some caveats. While playing dead, you couldn't move your mouse, because that would give you away, and you couldn't just jump awake as if there was someone on top of you for an easy backstab. Apparently, the developers of TF2 tried to do something similar with the Dead Ringer. The class was used in competitive TFC, but just about as frequently as in competitive TF2. Team Fortress Classic had much faster respawn time, which nullified the surprise factor of when Spy was used, if he was used constantly. Plus, long disguising times and no invisibility weren't very much fun to play with. Shocking, I know. But if there was a need to move the flag, a scout was usually replaced with a spy who could perform a surprise rush on the flag and carry it as far as possible. There's no need to kill heavies or any other class because fast respawn made the flag the only objective, and whether you destroy the enemy team or die every 15 seconds wasn't all that important. Alright, we've discussed the key moments regarding the TFC spy, now I think it's time to move on to TF2. First, here's the original description from Valve. He is a puzzle, wrapped in an enigma, shrouded in riddles, lovingly sprinkled with intrigue, expressed mailed to Mystery Alaska. Look out behind you! But it is too late. You're dead, for he is the spy, a globe-trotting rogue, a lady killer, metaphorically, and a man killer, for real. As you can see, the developers intended Spy to be the mysterious class in the game, but didn't really succeed in making him all that mysterious. First of all, it's worth mentioning that the stereotypes are a major part of many characters in TF2, including the Spy, but that problem applies to him less so. The Spy is French, and because of that, his character was built around misconceptions about French people, like, you know, how they're all elegant and stylish, or that they're all heartthrobs. But honestly, I think it works for the Spy just perfectly. Even his affair with Scout's mom...
That would be your mother.
What the? Wait,
Indeed. And now he's here to us. So listen up, boy.
feels something else entirely rather than just another "your mom" joke. There's many interesting facts about the Spy character worth mentioning. For example, it was revealed in the comic Unhappy Returns that he has fake teeth where he stores small provisions and a knife. They also partially show his face in this comic and reveal that he has very dark gray hair. Another interesting fact comes from the comic Loose Cannon. The very first blue spy ever was revealed to be Dr. Fu Manchu, who became an archetype of the evil criminal genius in all of literature. Fu Manchu has been a staple of cinema and literature for over 90 years. Also, he was arguably an inspiration behind villains like Dr. Moriarty and Phantomas. There are many other small details about him worth mentioning, like the fact that the blue spy only smokes black cigarettes, while the red spy only smokes white ones, or the fact that Valve received a lot of angry letters back in the day from Karen moms who didn't want their kids to see a character smoking. But those small facts don't really have anything to do with the spy as a character, so let's just move on to updates and competitive. The Spy update came as a surprise to the community, which took the update to a bit of a new level, and I'll try to explain why. Back when updates were focused on specific classes, there were a lot of discussion on forums on what each class could receive in an update, and a lot of people figured out that the developers didn't have to go out of their way choosing what to give to the Spy, as that was, in a sense, already realized in previous games. The most obvious options were a weapon for faking death and a gun with a silencer that slows down enemies on each shot. The latter did appear in earlier concept art, but for some reason was scrapped and replaced with the Ambassador. The other possible weapons were still a mystery. My friends were of the opinion that nothing could possibly top the knife, which killed everybody in one hit, and that was the point. There was also a rumor that the sapper would be replaced with some kind of grenade, which, as we know now, was not true. The community was more interested in other weapons rather than just the pistol or the watch. In reality, the Spy only received weapons that people were already aware of during the Sniper vs. Spy update. Moreover, there was a major controversy surrounding the fact that now players had to choose between 3 watches instead of just 2. Let me remind you, there wasn't as much variety in gameplay back in the day as there is now. Of course, the Spy update was very cool compared to the Sniper update, and the gameplay did indeed change, but after a while it became obvious that combining the updates was necessary. If the updates came separately, they'd be pretty weak, but together, they make for much more of an impact. In any case, people initially weren't happy with the update for 2 reasons, because a lot of people simply didn't receive new weapons despite having completed the necessary achievements, and because the mechanic wasn't thought out all that well. There was one more unpleasant thing about the update. More often than not, when Valve would release a new weapons, the stats claimed that, for example, the pistol was 15% more accurate, which in reality wasn't true at all. But what happened to the Ambassador was a complete opposite of that. One of the changes listed was a 15% decrease in accuracy after the first shot, when, in reality, the Ambassador was quite consistent in its accuracy and never lost any of it. The only thing that happened was the enlargement of the crosshair, and you didn't have to wait for it to become small again in order to do a headshot. With all that information in mind, I want you to imagine a clan war in which a single spy would come out of spawn pocketed by like 3 or 4 medics. That, of course, didn't work on more experienced players, but Valve quickly realized their mistake and changed the mechanic. By the way, There's nothing written on that subject in the TF2 wiki, as is the case with the broken Natasha mechanic. Well, let's move on to the competitive scene in TF2. Like in TFC, the spy in TF2 couldn't be used constantly. In fact, the spy was designed to bring an element of surprise to the game which would be nullified if he was used constantly. And teams took advantage of that fact to break stalemates. That's why I personally love Spy. It's because he has the ability to turn the tides completely in your favor with his rare, appropriate appearance in competitive, or to make such a surprising play that the enemy team won't even realize how, when, and what happened. Unlike all other classes, a lot of people actually tried training as Spy because after watching a lot of competitive matches, I can say with full confidence this class can considerably spice up the match that's gone boring and monotonous. Thank you for watching. This has been Waylon. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and even subscribe if you're feeling up to it. What's important though is that you don't forget to show our friend Kel some love too. This of course was his video and his words. This was also the last of his Storytime segment videos, so if you like this one, be sure to go check out the others. Also, let me know if you'd like to come back and dub over another one of his works if you like this video just that much. His other videos are just as great as this one. Who else to thank other than Sin himself for having me on this channel? Stay tuned, you guys. He's cooking up a lot of great stuff on here that you won't want to miss. Until next time, this has been Waylon, filling in for Kel over here on NISLT. I wish you more positivity and less negativity. If you like hearing my voice, I suggest that you go and subscribe to my channel. An easy link to it is in Sin's recommended channels page. I appreciate your support and your kind comments.
Shock, blood loss, infection. Oh, I love stabbing.